We're getting ready for the start, so let's see if the minis get away a little bit sharp as this time. I say Hugh McAvoy on the front row alongside him, Noel Connaughey. And they got away much faster than they did in the first race. So Chris Doherty gets away, Michael Graham alongside him, Derek Graham trying to go up alongside. And again, the Fiestas, they are quicker in that sort of first gear into second gear than the minis. The guys got away okay in the minis, but there you see the gap is presumably that's third, fourth gear they've engaged. The minis just easing away there and the run down into Colonial. I think Hugh McAvoy say behind this mini-series would like to get a mini-series going, either maybe in place of the Fiestas or replacing those opinions divided amongst the drivers, and that they certainly don't want to revert to the newer version of the Fiesta because it's actually slower. They want something that at least is as fast, but I say opinion. From speaking to some of the drivers involved, a little bit divided at the moment. Some people think, yeah, they are getting a wee bit long in the tooth, but there's still parts and that readily available, albeit they may be a little bit more expensive to buy bits for them they were in previous years. But as I say, Hugh thinks the minis would be a viable alternative, or it need not a viable alternative to Fiesta's suitable class on its own. So let's see how that develops. No doubt they'll be putting a lot of effort into the winter months, but down they go into the hairpin and coming up, I say, to complete lap one on the second lap of this combined Minis and Fiestas. Two races running concurrently. So say Hugh McAvoy, the man behind this move to minis or instigation of the mini class, he leads that from Noel Connaughey, both from Jonesboro. Then it's Derek Graham and his son Michael, who are first and second in the Fiestas. Chris Doherty in third. Conor Mulholland, who hasn't run a full season. If he's not on the full season, he's usually out there on the marshals post or driving the recovery vehicle. Conor there through in fourth position. Stephen Walker then was in fifth from Henry White, and the newcomer Brian Hutton, and then the 500 club treasurer Michael Mulholland there in eighth position. Hugh McAvoy heads down the back. I say the Grahams 1 and 2 at the moment in the Fiestas, and they just ease away their line of stern there, so towing themselves down the back, although everyone is in a straight line. These are guys you rarely see getting involved in scrapes. The group behind, I say, they have their own little dices, but seldom exchange the paintwork. So there go the Grahams, they're 1 and 2, and then we say we have Chris Doherty being followed through here by Conor Mulholland, then it's Stephen Walker next to him, and then Henry White in one of the Ricky Hull's cars. Brian Hutton next up. Michael Mulholland there in his red one, so two red cars there. The two minis out in front with Hugh McAvoy. Has to be said, he's a little bit more experienced than Noel Connaughey. Hugh has raced and sprinted and done all sorts of things. To say, originally started out many years ago as a motocrosser. He's a compatriot of Brian Hartley. The pair of them are very friendly, and I say both taking part in motocross in the 70s. In fact, Hugh, I think, was riding when I first started commentating in motocross back in 1975, and he still has an occasional out. And in fact, they're planning, I think it's the Dundalk Club or an offshoot of what was the old Dundalk Club, with the Kelly brothers and all in it there. They're planning some big event. I think it's either this weekend or next weekend. So interesting. No scrambles bikes, you go down to that one, but it is Hugh, say, across the line. Leads Noel Connaughey. Then we have still Derek Graham, who say unofficially I think is going to take the Fiesta Championship for 2022 by finishing this one. So he was non-score in the first round, but Mark Stewart, there was points, 50 points difference between the start, so can't be made up now. So Derek on his return to racing this year, former man who campaigned fates, goes through. Conor Mulholland still third, Doherty, Stephen Walker, and Henry White. Creative Motorsport, that's Ricky Hull's banner. Couldn't remember it there the first time. Whenever one of his cars went through, Henry White was in it. Should know by now, has been, I say, the mainstay of a lot of these Fiestas. So the minis down past the clubhouse, the Grahams coming down first and second. in the Fiestas, and I say then Conor Mulholland leading Chris Doherty and 28 Stephen Walker. Their 3-car battle for what is third position. Hugh McAvoy goes through in that parcel collection services. I think that's one of Hugh's company. He's another guy with multi-business interests over the years. As they exit from there, and it is still McAvoy well in front of Noel Connacht, and then I say the Graham's battling it out here in the Fiestas. They're certainly pushing on, it has to be said. They're in the 115s, a 15 sorry, that's the many times you're looking. I was wondering where they got that. The fastest lap in the Fiestas, I think it's at 17.181 there to Derek Graham. So he's eased away by a couple of car lengths this time, just as they come down past the clubhouse. Conor Mulholland is still holding off Chris Doherty. Stephen Walker falling a little bit. But down they go into the hairpin once again. Up and across the line, and Michael Graham there. The Grahams go side by side, father and son, down into Deaders, 2 by 2. Keeping about, oh good, well it was a foot between them, and I said went out to about 3 feet there as Michael ran wide, and Derek, well, can he take back the lead? I think Michael maybe, yeah, he slots it down the inside as they go into Colonial. So Michael back in front, and Conor Mulholland is now coming under pressure from Chris Doherty. Whether he ran a little bit wide up at the hairpin, but Chris was closing on him or getting a run. May have been the slipstream, and Stephen Walker is coming into that battle as well, is it? Or no, I think Conor is, yeah, Conor's gone through there ahead of Chris. I thought there was a car on the outside of him, but he actually had got him on the way through. The Grahams, meantime, it is Michael. They come through the chicane. Derek comes out of the slipstream. Now it's level pegging. Who has got the best car? The Graham Motorsport cars heading down past the clubhouse. Derek's just easing ahead, but he needs to get a bit further ahead than that. So who's going to be the best on the brakes into the hairpin? Father and son. Oh, Chris goes down, or down the inside goes Michael there. Michael down the inside. Now looking at the battle for third, because believe it or not, as these two actually are having, I imagine, a little bit of fun between them. Conor Mulholland and Chris Doherty are towing themselves back up into contention. I think the gap may just be too big for them to get over with 4 minutes to go, but they go across the line there. So it was Conor doing a 17.622 and Chris doing a 17.4, and I say the Grahams were doing a 17.897 for Michael and an 18.112 for Derek. So I say they need to just, they're having a little bit of fun, I think, between themselves there, but I say they need to keep their eye on what's going on behind, because Conor Mulholland and Chris Doherty are actually working well together and using the slipstream effect, the two-man bob as I call it, to get down the back straight and close the gap in. So again, now I think the Grahams have decided, they've looked in the mirrors. No, they're going out side by side just to compare speeds down to the hairpin, compare who's best in the brakes, and again, line astern, closing all the way. Come Mulholland and Doherty. In fact, Doherty, he's now decided to break ranks and tries to go down the outside of Conor. So in the brakes into hairpin. So cracking little race here to say, 2 at it for the lead, 2 at it for second, but all coming up and going across the line again they go. And that is Michael Graham goes across the line, followed by Derek Graham. Remember, McAvoy and Connacht still in the lead. Henry White and Brian Hutton go through there as well, and a newcomer just goes across the line now, and say he is spot. Michael Mulholland. The Minis going down the back again. So they head down there. Sorry, it's off air for a minute there. I can hear there's a little bit of delay for something that's developed on the PA, so I've changed the mic lead there. Hopefully that'll solve it, but always the usual end of season problems with the PA. It's been out in the weather all years, and sometimes I say the mic leads up here in the commentary box just because we generally work them through our hands. I keep threatening to buy myself a new radio mic for use up here, which tends to eliminate the problem because you stand with the mic lead and wiggle it about in your hands and wiggle it through your fingers. You tend to produce little cracks in the cable, which can lead to impediments on the line. So McAvoy and Connaughey down in the back, just looking there again. Michael Graham leads Dad Derek into the race, so Michael may be looking for a final race win. Derek probably happy enough to take the championship for 2022. Conor Mulholland and Chris Docherty, they're still having a cracker of a dice for third position. So time, just looking to say we still have about 30 seconds to go as the minis go across the line, so I'll get the last lap board next time around. Here comes the battle of the Fiestas. McAvoy and Connaughey still across the line. In the BMWs, they're down around the Colonials. It's still the Grahams, and they think they are keeping an eye just on the mirrors to see that these two guys are now dicing out. The problem is that Conor and Chris, were starting to close in on the Grahams while they were actually going line astern, but then they decided, well, we need to sort out who's going to take third here at some stage, so they're no longer closing the gap in there. Derek Graham was actually faster with everyone that last time through with a 16.904, so he may be trying to just jump Michael here as they move on to the final lap. Michael Mulholland goes through. So another pair of brothers there, Michael and Conor, but the leader in the mini, Hugh McAvoy, he is well clear of Noel Connaughey. Coming down, goes across the line, and the number 27 car, black one there with the yellow stripes on it, and then the red mini with the white roof. That was quite popular, back in the day when minis were famous. And many of you remember when I first came here to Kirkistown back in 65, 66, minis were very, very popular. They used to have about 20 or 25. There used to be a mini Grand Prix here at Kirkistown. All hot minis and Mini Coopers and Cooper S's of various vintage back then. Some tremendous racing in them. And then along came Alec Poole and Archie Phillips, who decided to put dummy boots on what were Wolseley Hornets, to create Wolseley Hornets and Riley Ells respectively, but great racing back in those days. Anyway, Fiesta back with them as they through there. The Grahams lead on to the last lap. Still Michael leading Derek as they go through. Conor still leading Chris Docherty for third position going across the Fisherman's. The two minis, and has Hugh McAvoy has a problem. He has a problem. Just as he goes down past the clubhouse, he's slowed. So Noel Connaughey has closed right up on him, and will he get him in the run down to the flag? He might well do. Whatever the problem was, Hugh just appeared to slow. He has slowed, coming out of the hairpin. So Noel Connaughey is up behind, but is he going to stay there? He should be able to duck out. They're trying to take the slipstream down the line there, but well, they seem to both have had a problem in the last lap. Not quite sure what happened, but crossed the line. Hugh McAvoy and Noel Connaughey there. Maybe they were trying to achieve a dead heat. Here come the Grahams down to the line. Last Fiesta race of 2022. Who's it going to be? Down the line they come, and it is Michael who gets it. Hole says Derek across the line there. The difference between them at the line, 46 thousandths of a second. Conor Mulholland takes a great third position, and he was just 0.424 ahead of Chris Docherty, with Stephen Walker home in fifth position. Sixth position there, and another of the Creative Motorsport cars, Henry White. And then we're waiting in seventh spot for the newcomer, Brian Hutton. So he comes home in seventh spot. And the man who controls the funding here of the 500 Club, the treasurer, coming down, Michael Mulholland, takes another good run through to eighth position. So that completes the second Fiesta race.